presence of gas and oil in Trinidad and Tobago, costs dramatically are pushed up, especially wage costs, as a consequence of the fact that government can funnel in money into the economy and pay significant wages wages that are significantly higher than the wages you pay in agriculture or the wages you pay in tourism. And it can do so and fund waste in the process, and idleness and low productivity. The least productive sector in the economy is government, properly measured. And what government does is that as it takes over and pays these significant wages, it drives productivity down. It drives up the share of wages in the national economy. It drives up the wage rate in the national economy, and it drives productivity down. And it has a particular manifestation in Tobago that everyone, including the authorities in the Executive Council and the House of Assembly generally, should care about. Because in the context of Tobago, that means 57% of government, of employees in Tobago are government employees, either directly, which is about 49%, and another 8% or so in government-owned enterprises. Just the other day, I saw it live. I was actually there. And an employee came into a hotel in Tobago. I won't bother to tell you which one. Came in late, hour and a half or so late. And the boss said, well, you know, you're late. Why are you so late? Said, well, my cell phone ring late. And said, well, you know, we have guests who are relying on your services and the things you have to do and so on. It's really not appropriate for you to come late every day like this. And she said, well, you know, what I can't do anything about it. My cell phone ring late, I wake up late, you know, and very employee that was very difficult to discipline. Anyway, I stood aside and let the boss sort out his business. And the next day, out of curiosity, being a normal researcher, I called up and I asked, so how did you work out this thing? He said, well, she ain't come back yet. Meaning she left and she went. It's a great thing to have 2 or 3% unemployment, of course, in a place like Tobago. We pretty much full employment by any measure of full employment that we use in economics. But what it is doing in the context of this high share of that full employment in government is that if you and your employee fall out in the tourism sector, they just don't bother come back the next day because they go and get a CPEP work or whatever, government work. That's what full employment means with 50%, 57% in government. They can find cover to practice the lack of discipline. And you try to build a tourism sector in which you have to be nice. You can't afford to rile up your employees too much because they got to smile with your guests and stuff like that. You can't afford to have workers there for who you cannot discipline in a tourism plant. So you're driving productivity down, you're driving discipline down, and you're driving up unit costs, and you're making your tourism and any other commodity for that matter, non-governmental commodity, very, very expensive to produce and very uncompetitive. And you're trying to build a business sector in that context. And if you think it only applies to tourism, just walk up and down and try to go into any store in Tobago and buy anything. I do it all the time because I'm doing research. You walk in, and when you walk in, everybody watches, so what you come here for? A lineman over here, what you bothering me for? They can't sell. Man, you give them gold, they can't sell. Much more take bread and sell it and call it stone, which is the skill you need if you're going to sell in a tourism island.